Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay. But you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
MLRA champion John Anderson joining us. Congratulations, John, your third championship. Had a big banquet last night. I'll bet you're still celebrating, right?
Actually, we're involved in a lot of things, so yeah, I had to get back to Omaha. We got working up at the high school this morning, so there's really no rest.
No rest for the weary. Well, you've been with Greg Youngans for quite a while now. This has been a dream relationship that you've had. Just talk about driving for Greg over the years. This has really been a special relationship that you and he's had.
Yeah, it sure has. When a lot of people drive for somebody, it doesn't usually last over 2-3 years. And, I've been real fortunate to be there since 2007. And, we've got along the whole way. We've had some success, so that helps. But we both have a pretty good attitudes about it all. And, we've been through some changes. And, we persevere and seem to come out on the other end okay. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
What have been the highlights of the 2012 season that led you to this? A year ago, you didn't win all that many races, but you really picked up in the win column this year. What's been the key to that improved success from last year?
Well, to be quite honest, we struggled a little bit of the last year, the first half, and in about July or August of last year, we kind of caught fire and come up with some pretty good stuff that was working for us, and kind of rode that all through this year. And it's been good. We have unbelievable average finish, and just a lot of hard work. And it's pretty hard to stay on top. Seems to be a little easier to get there. It's not easy, but you know what I'm saying. So it's a constant lot of work to keep on top of things, and we've hit on something pretty good that's worked for our little program, and we're riding it out.
Technology changes so much in dirt late model racing over the years. What's been the biggest change as far as the competition and trying to stay on top?
Well, and that's just it. Everybody's got good cars, good information, good engines. Back in the day, you could talk about helping a guy out and, tell him to, try a 300-pound left rear or, whatever, a spring here or there, but anymore, it's just the whole package of the whole thing and getting everything to work together, your bar angles with your combination of your springs and weights. And it's just crazy how if you get that all together, it works. I alluded to before that we were struggling the first half of last year, and to be quite honest, it was just a quarter-inch here, a eighth-inch there, a quarter-inch here, and, once that all come together, you just got to stay on top of that part, and that's what we did. And it's just a huge combination. But everybody's got a ton of information anymore, and it's really, really competitive.
John, Troy Harrison here. First of all, congratulations on winning another championship. Before you came on, one of the things that we were talking about was kind of the state of late model racing here in the four-state area. And what do you see as kind of where late model racing is at right now in this area, not on a local level, on a regional level?
Yeah, we watch that all the time, and I've talked to people before. I'm a huge race fan. When I'm not racing, I want to go to the races and watch and, bring my son with me or friends, and I really try to pay attention to that. I really don't have a lot of the answers to all of the ill wills of the late model, but my little part and what I try to say is just to help each other out. Just like I said at the banquet last night, we have to be in this together to make it work. We have to support each other. There's a fine line between promoters making money, guys that are racing to make money, and just enough to get along and to make it to the next race. And I think the state of it is really well. I mean, you know, when you call up a Masters build and talk about getting some cars or parts and they're weeks behind, you know, on schedule, you know, that it's got to be good. I know other chassis companies are behind. So as far as the industry as a whole, I think it's okay. And I think you know, it's back on the upswing a little bit, and you know, just being cautious of engines and different things like that. You know, there needs to be a few changes, but overall, I think it's still pretty strong. And like I said, I hope so, because I really enjoy it.
Another big part about last night's banquet, after 16 years, Cowboy and Harriet Chancellor, who have sold the series to Lucas Oil, will still be around, but that had to be a special night for them. Just talk about Cowboy and Harriet and what they've meant to the MLRA.
Yeah, you know, I've been racing MLRA for, you know, the last 5, 6, 7 years or so, and, you know, they've created a great place for us to race, and they've done well regionally. They've sustained through a few different series is coming and going, and have always done a real good job of being fair. And, you know, some of the other series may not have made it because they weren't making enough money, and that never really seemed to bother them as much. They did it for the love of the sport, and enjoyed it and enjoyed the people, and, you know, brought it to a new level, to which, you know, now with Lucas behind it, you know, they can hopefully step it up to some of the concerns that will help the industry, and be a big supporter behind it, because they do bring another element to it. And as far as, you know, Cowboy and Harriet, you know, just like we said at the banquet, she's not going anywhere. She'll still be around, which is awesome. But you know, that's great for them. They can do some things they want to do in their life and still be able to enjoy racing with the rest of us.
Yeah.
What is the plan for next year? Everything remain the same?
Yeah. So far, Chase, Bossman's younger son, I believe he's going to try and run for the Rookie of the Year in the MLRA, and you know, our plan is to go and help with what we can, and try and run with him, and business as usual. You know, it's always this time of year you look at the schedules and kind of see what's smart. And I know, you know, Chase, he's wide open. He wants to race every day. So harnessing his aggression and figuring out the best route is what me and Bossman get to do. But, you know, that's always fun to see that in the sport. So that's kind of where we're going to be with that, and just move on from there.
We had a segment on our Behind the Wheel here a few years ago when you won your first championship on probably the most memorable night that we can remember on a final night for a champion at Nevada Speedway back in 2008. We reran that segment on RacinBoys TV on Metro Sports here a while back. Got a great response. Have you heard response from that? That was quite a night that I'm sure you still remember.
Oh yeah, I do. And, you know, I mean, I can't remember, a buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey, they're rerunning it, whatever." And I watched it again, and, you know, I mean, you're right, it was awesome. Me and Brian, who was with me then, you know, we were just a couple clowns having a good time, and you know, that was really a neat deal for us, and, you know, it couldn't have worked out any better. So yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that whole segment.
The thing that struck me that night, it was a long night. That the track was not in great shape. They had to bring a grader out and fix the racetrack. I mean, that had to be excruciating going through that night. And then you get a bad start in the race. You had to work your way up through the field. Just kind of describe the emotions that you ran through that night to finally get the championship.
Yeah, you know, pulling into Nevada, you're always intense anyway, just because of the racetrack. And then when they, you know, had a little, I can't remember if it rained or something the night before, but, you know, there was a big cushion, and you know, they worked the track and reworked the track, and it just kept us guessing the whole night. And, you know, for us, you're right. I mean, we had to sustain through all that and not change a bunch of stuff. And, you know, we hit on it, and it was really good. And we were ready for it, you know, but, yeah, it was definitely intense, and trying to keep the mood light, you know, which is always easy with the clowns I'm with. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, you had to call home. We're not going to make it to church tomorrow. This is going to be
oh, right. Yeah, I said, I don't think we're going to make her. Yeah, then, you know, in Nevada, you know, it's great. And I always kid those, because Brian there is from Nevada, and I always kid him how they're just not in really too big a hurry to do much, and they brought the grader out, and we just had a great time with it all. And, you know, and the competitors that come up and, you know, that knew what we were doing. And like I said, I mean, that is great for the sport. I mean, I was really blessed that it was me that was doing it, but anytime, you know, any of that is cameras or anything, you know, all the websites and everything that have stuff now, you know, that's just putting us in a whole other element, and that was just one of the things a few years ago that started it all. It was awesome.
Brian Larimore, your former crew chief, you still stay in pretty good touch. What's he doing now?
Yeah, he's got his dirt track specialist little business he's trying to run. He's helping people with cars down in the area, and you know, with setup and different stuff. And we talk all the time, and you know, he's trying to just further the sport along as well as he's trying to make a little business out of it because he loves the sport and you know, he's dedicated to it. So I'm sure it'll go because people like that usually make it, you know.
Well, let's talk about the crew that helped you with this year's championship. Talk about the guys that worked on your car this year.
Yeah, well, I had my buddy from since he was 10 years old. He was able to come back, and he helped me last year and this year for the most part, and that's what's helped our program a ton. Vinny Giuliani, and he in about July or August, you know, he had an opportunity to go to work at JRI Shot Company. He's an engineer by trade, so he was able to take that, and you know, we had to regroup. It was a little tough there, right in the middle, but you know, he left us in good hands, and still communicated about what we needed to do. And Corey, who really helps Chase and Grant out on their modified stuff, we really put him in a pickle because, you know, the boys were still racing. Now I needed some help because I wasn't, down there as much. So he had a huge workload to get things ready. And, you know, we missed a few races, you know, just because we wanted to be ready for the ones we needed to be ready for. And but he was able to persevere and put in some hard work to keep us going, and it worked out well. Luckily, we didn't get in any bad wrecks or motor problems, and you know, just kind of finished out the year and allowing us to regroup for next year.
5 wins this year. Just which of these wins stands out among the others, or just kind of describe the victories that you had this year?
Yeah, it was you know, they're all definitely special. I really like winning at I-80. You know, I think what sticks out in my mind is a few that I felt like we gave away, and those are the ones that, you know, keeps the fire burning and second guessing and keeps me up at night sometimes. But you know, I feel even at this stage in my career that, you know, there's more that I can learn, and you know, that's what I try to capitalize on. But a couple of them, you know, like the US 36, there was some good competition there, and I passed a lot of good cars because it didn't qualify all that well. And you know, for some reason, I was just really patient, and you really needed to be patient that night. And, you know, that was a really big one because that's a different element to how you race sometimes. So to be patient yet pick where you needed to be was for a driver, that was a really neat race for myself just to get that one. But at I-80 and winning my first time at Lucas Oil, that was pretty special as well. You know, that's a big place and all that goes on down there. So that was a pretty big race, and you know, they're all good. I mean, there's no about winning in McCool Junction. You know, with some people up there, it's kind of, you know, not a lot of people were able to follow the entire MLRA schedule. But when you go race up north and you race against guys that are really good up there, or able to go down to Springfield and race against really good guys down there at different times, there was never short of any competition. You know, it's just all the time everybody wasn't at the same spot. And, you know, so and when they all are and you win a race, like a few that I just talked about, those are really special.
Well, John, congratulations on the championship, your third, and happy that you're able to come on this morning, talk about it, and know you got a lot of work in the off season, get ready for 2013, and again, congratulations to you, and the best of luck to you next year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You talk about the off season. I don't know about any of that. We're headed to Arizona in January, so we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, you've gone out there for several years now. Why is that important for you to head out to Arizona in the wintertime?
Just so boss can go golfing, really.
That's it. I knew there was a logical explanation for
Well,
that.
it's great. It's snowing up here. I've been fortunate enough. I got a really good guy that works for me in my sign company, and been able to go down there and, kind of get things kick-started for the year and see where we're at and do a little testing and racing, and seems to help us once we get back here.
All right, we'll keep track of you when you're down there. And again, congratulations, and thanks for joining us this morning.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for all
right.
you do.
Thanks, John. John Anderson, MLRA champion for the third time. Good guy.
Yep.
And Greg Youngins is the consummate team owner. He is a great owner. He's a businessman. Everybody knows. Shop quick. And his whole demeanor, if you watch him around the racetrack, of course, these two sons race as well. He's a guy that empowers the people that are working on the car, and he lets them do their job. He lets John Anderson do his job, and that's pretty good combination right there.
Well, yeah, that means he's the checkbook, and that's what a car owner at some level should
But he
be.
understands racing, but he empowers the guys that work on his car and doesn't try to micromanage so much.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that really works, and especially with a driver like John Anderson, he can come in. This is why the longevity of this relationship.
Well, they've
with
had a
those
lot
two
of success
guys.
together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I don't even remember who drove that car before.
I can't either.
I mean, that's funny.
I mean, isn't that something?
I know
seems like
that
these
car
guys,
was around before John was driving
Right.
it, and I remember what John drove before. He drove the
Yeah.
number one car, but I'll be darned if I can remember who was driving the two car.
And isn't that a testament to success? Is when they've had so much of it, you don't remember life before John Anderson.
Well, and they did well before then. I mean,
Yeah.
the Shop Quick car was fast before then, but
I can't
Now
remember
that's gonna
either.
bug me
It's
for a
been-
while.
It's been
That's-
so long now, I've forgotten as well.
yeah, that's really going to bug me for a while now.
But John he's been a good talent. I've watched him race from years ago when I was working up at Corning, Iowa. He used to come over there and race at Adams County Speedways from the Omaha area, and he was a good talent right from the get-go. But I really like John Anderson. He's got a great demeanor, and he's been a great champion and represented the MLRA very well.